I'm Johnny Hunt. Thanks for checking in here. This is the Chord Melody Uke video series here on YouTube. A lot of it is pretty advanced, where I show how to finger pick different songs, usually the ones I've been working on. But every once in a while I like to film a workshop, and this is the video for a workshop I'll be doing in Evart, Michigan in July of 2015. So, if you missed the festival, this is a good way to catch up on what you may have missed. And if you did attend, then this is a good review. But it seems to me that a lot of ukulele instruction is geared toward, doing chords. Left-hand stuff, I guess I should say. And that's all great because that's important. I've even made some videos on this channel about chord inversions, and you might want to check that out at some point too. But I want to talk more about the art of finger picking, because I think the default, most strummers, a strum is kind of suggests that you're just doing the down, up, up, down thing. And there's different strum patterns that certainly are important to learn and to make your strumming more interesting. But I want to talk about doing finger style, because that's more what I like to do, at least for playing melodies. But also, if you're just playing rhythm and playing the chords, I think you'll find that some of the things we're going to talk about on this video will really enhance your playing and add variety. I think that's really what most of us are trying to do, that are expanding and trying to learn more things, is because we get to a point where our playing gets I don't know, not boring, but just always the same. And it's time to stretch a little bit and learn some new things. So if that's where you're at with your ukulele career, then I think this workshop will be helpful. So this is just a standard high G uke, tenor. I like to play tenor because I have big fingers, and so unless you have a baritone, you can just kind of follow the fingerings. If you do have a baritone, one thing you can do is put a capo at the 5th fret, and then you'll essentially have a low G soprano concert tenor uke. So if you're a baritone player, just for going along with the video here, you might want to try that. So that's just that might apply to some of you that are watching. But anyway, the first thing I want to teach you is what I call boom chicka, and it's just a different way of playing chords. We can just do the left hand basic chords that we already know. And I'm also going to show you some things to enhance the chords. But let's talk about what boom chicka is. It's basically 3 parts. So for making our regular C chord, it's a downstroke on one note with your thumb, and a brush with your nail, and then catching this A string on the way back up. So it's... You notice I'm picking different notes out, and you don't have to do that. You can pick the same note while you're learning the down, down, up thing. So again, it's pick a note, brush, pick it back up. And what finger do you use? Doesn't really matter. Thumb, you have to use your thumb. You can do a brush, index, middle finger. I generally use my middle finger to catch this A string on the way back up. Or on, say, a F chord. That's just an alternating bass. I'm picking the 1st, 2nd, 3rd string down with my thumb, brushing however many strings. You don't, even if you, it's not so much the chord that you're playing, it's the percussive thing. It's just a different sound than picking, just a standard kind of a finger pick thing. So, and you can do a G7th, back to C. That's kind of a neat pattern on your C chord. So we're picking the 4th string, brush, pick, even though it's the same string, doesn't matter. Top string, because we have a high C, G, E, C, and you have an octave. All the notes of the C chord. That just works on a C chord. You know, again, the more different ways you can approach this, I think the more fascinating that you'll find it. So I'm gonna use that to lead into what I call playing chords over scales, and we're gonna do it with this same boom chicka pattern. So work on the boom chicka thing until you feel comfortable and it feels natural. And you know, this video, like any other video or any other you know, thing you're trying to learn, you have to watch it first and understand it, but you have to do it. You know, everything I cover on this video you're not going to learn in an hour, but you're going to have more tools in your toolbox that you can go to, and again you can refer back to the video to you know, fill in the gaps where you might be struggling a little bit. So again, get the boom chicka thing down, and then that leads into what I call chords over scales. And if we're playing a C scale, like a descending scale, so we're on the 1, 2, 3, 4th string down at the 3rd fret, 2nd fret, open, then down to the 3rd string at the 3rd fret, 1st fret, open 3rd string, 2nd string, 2nd fret, and open. And knowing that C scale is important too, because if you don't know the scale, you're going to get some clinker notes that don't really belong, and unless you're playing some weird jazz thing, which means you can get away with whatever you want to do. But for our purposes, here's an ascending scale. Again, this is in a key of C. So we got the 2nd string open, 2nd fret, 3rd string open, 3rd string 1st fret, 3rd string 3rd fret, 4th string open, 4th string 2nd fret, 4th string 3rd fret. And we're going to use the 3 basic chords that we would use in the key of C, which are C, G, and F. We're going to have, you know, the only thing that's any different with your left hand is this note, which is part of your C chord. So I'm strumming with my thumb, and I can stop short of, because I don't want to use the 4th string anymore. I'm going down past where the range of the string is. So I'm just strumming down first 3 strings. And that's a G note. Is it? Yeah, it's a G. There's our F chord. Back to a C chord, 3 strings. 2 strings now with a G chord. So, really slowly, we'll bring the boom chicka in next, but I just want to play the scale with the chords. That's what I call scales over the chords. So here's your regular C chord with a C, high C on top, G chord, F sharp on top. Next would be a F chord with an A on top, the open A. And then our 3-fingered chord, our C chord. And you can also fret at the 4th string, although you're not intending to strike that string. If you do, at least you won't have it won't be discordant. You really want to emphasize that D note. F chord, top 3 strings. Okay, and then I'm back to a C chord, first 3 strings with the 3rd string open. And then our G or G7th, doesn't matter, because we're only playing the top 2 strings, and then just to open C. So practice going up and down that scale. You may want to start just playing the notes. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, back down, C, B, A, excuse me, A, G, F, E, D, C. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's all it is. And then you do it with the chords. And back up. Again, I suggest using the thumb just because your thumb knows where to put the brakes on. And if you're doing a freestyle strum and you don't have an anchor, because it's really hard to strum like this with having your finger anchored on the fretboard, so you have that proprioception to know where your hand is. Okay, so again, for now, while you're learning the scales, just do the thumb strum. Alright, so work on that till you're comfortable, knowing the scale, knowing which chords they go with. And then we can bring back in the boom chicka that we just learned, which is going to sound like this. And up, slowly. See, I'm fingering the whole chord, like when we get to... Because when I do the brush stroke down, I want to have this high C, because that's part of the chord, and the open A isn't. I'm picking the third string, but I'm brushing them all. And then when I come back up, on the fourth string, I've got the C. Slowly. Seventh, G7th, you can do that. And descending. So that's chords over scales, and so when you get to this point, you're like 2/3 of the way there. All right, to arriving at your destination. So work on that till it feels comfortable. I'm just going to show another variation on the downstroke with the fingers. This is something classical guitarists use called a rasgueado. All right, excuse my Spanish. It's just kind of a really flourishy brush with all the fingers sort of trailing one another. So. That's just another, again, variation, just one more little twist you can do to brighten things up and keep it different. So, when you get to where you know the scale, the next thing, of course, is playing songs, all right? Because songs are fun, and exercises and drills are not fun, generally, unless the learning thing is going on. Say, oh, yeah, I learned how to do this now. So work on that. I'm going to show you a couple songs now, just simple songs that you probably would never want to sing or play, But it's just a good kind of a way to learn as you're actually playing something worthwhile, okay? So to do that, I have to show you some different chords. So here's an F chord, right? And a B flat, B flat, C, F. How you make your B flats, up to you. I like bar chords. You can do it with your finger pads, same thing. That, you know, there you got the beginning of Hang On Sloopy, so that's a song fragment anyway. But the song I want to use is Good Night Ladies. Alright, so it's going to be the boom chicka thing. And then because our notes here on the G note over a C chord. Back to F. Now our B flat. Same thing. F, C. So slowly now. 4th string, 3rd string. This is on the F chord. 2nd string, 3rd string, 4th string, 3rd string, C chord. 3rd string at the 3rd fret, F chord, 4th string, 3rd string, B flat, top string, see how you could do. You could play your note here on the 1st string because it's the same note. Okay, so ladies, we back to F, 4th string, C with the 3rd fret of the 3rd string. See, it doesn't sound right unless you fret, so you got to fret 2 strings. I recommend doing it this way instead of this way, because then you're going to have to move your hand to do something new. And back to F, 3rd string. And just end it. You can do the same, you know, continue the boom chicka thing, or do something a little different just so you can spice things up a little bit. So that's a good actual song to practice on. Another one would be Skip to My Lou. I'm going to play that in the key of D. So what are our chords in the key of D? G, A, 2 1 0 0, and then 2 2 2 0. Here's how that goes. So 2 2 2 0, D, skip to my Lou. Seventh. So that would be what? A 7th. I want to show you that trick. That was a pull off, but we're going to cover that too. So let's do that again slowly, and I'll tell you how I'm playing it. So again, D chord, 3rd string, 2nd fret, 2nd string, 3rd string, 4th string open, A, 3rd string open, 2nd string, 3rd string open, A 7th. So I'm at the 3rd fret here with my pinky or ring finger, whatever you like. Back to D, top string, 3rd string, 2nd string, 3rd string, back to A. Now this isn't part of the chord, but it is part of the scale. I got second, first, second fret, because that's our melody note. That whatever that is, F sharp. Seventh, second and open. You're just flicking after you fret it. Just kind of snap your ring finger off the string. So there's a couple of songs you can do, all on the boom chicka thing. And so work on those, get to where you're comfortable, and I'm going to show you another thing called a shuffle pattern. And this is more of a left-hand thing, but you'll find that it works well with the boom chicka. You know, it's like you got to have pie crust and filling to make a pie, right? So I'm going to show you how to do the shuffle and some of the basic keys. And what a shuffle is, if you don't know music theory, bear with me here, but in a major chord there's three notes in it. There's the root chord, so like in a C chord, the root would be C. There's a third, which would be an E, and a fifth, which is the G note. And what a shuffle does is take that fifth note of the chord and jacks it up to the sixth note in that scale. So like with a C chord, instead of C-E-G, it's be C-E-A. And that's how you would do the C chord with the boom chicka. Now I'm just picking this top string because that's where all the action is, going from G to A. Because here's a C, here's an E, here's another C, and here's a G. Okay, and then for an F chord, make your F chord 2 0 1 0, and this is the C, the open C note, so we're going to turn that C into a D note, because the F chord is F, A, and C, or as you're watching the camera, F, A, and C, and we're going to take that C and move it one note higher to a D. All right, so we're going C to D here over the F chord. So I'm just picking the third string with my thumb. Back to C. And then if we're in the key of C, our other chord would be G or G7, but we're going to use a G because it's a little bit easier. And what we're doing is taking this D and turning it into an E. And we're using a finger that has heretofore been neglected and unfortunately not involved, because this finger, this is called your pinky, all right? And you will find that when you begin to get comfortable using your left pinky, your horizons will expand before you to an immeasurable degree. And you'll find all sorts of vistas and horizons have opened up for your playing. So I strongly suggest get used to using your pinky. Otherwise, if you're only using 3 fingers, the strings still outnumber your fingers, and you may as well be playing guitar. All right, so use your pinky. It's your buddy, and it comes in helpful for doing the shuffle on this G. So I'm on the second string, 1, 2. So it's 0, 2, 3, 2. And I'm going to 4, 3, 2 here in the second string. another aside. Anytime you're 2 frets higher on the first string than you are on the fourth string, you're going to have the same note. Which there's some practicality there, so that's just an aside there. So meanwhile, back at the ranch. So another chord we would need to know is what's the shuffle for the B flat, which is 3, 2, 1, 1. And the answer is it's here on the 1, 2, 3rd string, which you have it on the fretted at the 1st fret for your B flat chord. And again, you're using your pinky to come down to the 3rd fret of the 1, 2, 3rd string. And another chord that's helpful to know the shuffle for is the D chord, which is 2, 2, 2, 0. The shuffle is just a straight bar, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 0. The shuffle on the D chord is all here on the high string, the 4th string down. You can do it all sorts of different ways. The first way I was doing was just flexing down my ring finger. So instead of coming in straight in perpendicularly on the tip of my finger, which is how you want to make all your chords. You want to come straight down at the fingerboard, unless you're doing like what I'm going to show you here. See, and then I'm just flexing this bugger down. It's hard to get a really crisp sound with that. So that's one option, is picking the thing up and moving it over, and having a note that's really not part of a D chord, but it does add variety. So again, it's a good variation. Another way is to throw your pinky in. Or another way is pinky down here. Because remember I said anytime you're 2 frets apart on the top and bottom strings, you have the same note. So you can do your shuffling here. Just have to make sure that your downbeat with your thumb is on the string that you're going to shuffle with. They sound just the same. So there's your 4 options on the D chord. Flexing over your ring finger, number 1. Adding your pinky, number 2. Moving your ring finger over. Or doing it all on the top string, number 4. And a high chord, you know, this would be 2, 2, 2, 5. That's a nice D chord with a D on the top. It's nice to have a melody note on the top when you're finishing a song. Not a rule, but just a suggestion. Okay. So those are shuffles. And I know there's a lot of material on here, so this is this is 6 months worth of stuff you're getting in an hour or 45 minutes or however long this thing is. But I want to take that shuffle that we just learned and show you another cool thing you can do based on the shuffle, and that's turn your major chords into the 6th chords, which is the shuffle, and also into the dominant 7th chords, which are some of the chords you already know anyway. Just maybe different ways of doing them. So here's our C, 0, 0, 0, 3. Remember our shuffle, we're on the top string. And there's a C 7th. So, and dominant 7ths are great for blues, okay? or any song that's got that bluesy feel to it. And it's not that much different than a shuffle, so in fact some of the positions are easier. So all on the top string, thumb on the top string, brush, pick, second fret, brush, pick, third fret, brush, pick, second fret. And it's probably better to do this than this. You can do either one, you know, as long as you're getting clean notes up and down, it doesn't really matter. So that's a C chord. And then F. How do you make an F chord? 2 0 1 0. So here's our F, and we're adding our ring finger at the second fret of the second string, pinky at the third fret. Back to F, back to C. Okay, and then for marimba. So I'm gonna, this is a little different than I showed you for the G chord. I'm doing G7th now. I can go here. So I have two ways of making that shuffle. I can do here with my pinky like I showed you. Or I can do the third string open. I'm getting coordinated. I want to lift my ring finger up and leave this finger here, which is not something I usually do. So if you're using G7th instead of G, I think this will be the easiest way. So it's 0 2 1 2. Thumb down on the first string, brush and up, then thumb down on the second string, open, then thumb down on the third string at the first fret, open, down to the second string, second string, third string open, third string first fret, open, back to C, all on the second string, G7th, F, C, okay, so those are sevenths. So again, that gives you some left hand things to work on. Another left hand thing I alluded to a little bit earlier was the pull-offs, okay, and hammer-ons. Those are all left hand techniques. Basically what you're doing is sneaking in another note without having to pick it with your right hand or to strum it. So it works pretty well. Let's see with the shuffle chords. So let's see. Let's take the F chord for starters. So instead of doing and fretting it, same thing with the seventh. And that's called hammering on. And what you're doing is down blasting that finger under control, but hard enough to make a new note. pull off, you got whatever notes left behind with your next finger or an open chord. So it's, the way you do the pull off, you don't flick straight across, you know, parallel with the fretboard. It's kind of at a 45-degree angle. So you're flicking up, I don't know if I can show, but sort of this way at a 45. Not this way, not straight up. And you can almost come to rest on the next string down if there is one there. So, that's hammers and pull-offs, which is another muscle memory skill that is not going to be learned in 10 minutes. It's learned by taking time as much as you can. I won't tell you have to practice, because I never practice. I rehearse. I only play. All right, and if it's for a specific purpose, it's rehearsing. Otherwise, it's just playing. So play a lot. However, I don't know how much time you have to do it. But just like anything else, the more effort you put into it, the quicker you'll learn it and the better you'll become at it. But you have to sort that out because we're all in different places. So that's the how-to part, and here's the application. Here's a couple of songs with hammers and pulls. Let's do Camptown Races in the key of C. Okay, did you get it? Or should we slow it down and explain it? I think we should do that. So there's our two-fingered C chord, 0, 0, 3, 3, because the melody's here. So, third string, third fret, with the thumb down. And on the second course of the boom chicka, it's open and then hammer at the third. Two ways again, you know, there's multiple ways to do just about everything, really. So this is basically a G7th chord, or a G chord. So I'm picking the third string open and hammering on the second string, which hasn't been vibrating at all. So the whole note has to be by the force of the hammer, which is harder than that's, you know, a string that's already vibrating, just hammering on that. So that's why I started doing it this other way with a pull-off, because these are equivalent notes. Fourth string at the second fret, third string open. So it's fourth, pulling off to the second. This is my G chord, and this is just an accessory to get that note. And then the third line. You can do it that way too. So let's talk about each one of those. This is again our C chord. Third fret, third string. It's a hammer-on. like this way as well, because we got the same issue, hammering onto a string that wasn't already set in motion. So I like it's all on the 3rd string, 3rd fret. And I'm trying to avoid or mute this top string. That's the drawback of doing it this way. 3rd, hammer to 3rd, 5th, 5th pulling off to the 3rd, open, and then back to G7, 0, 2, 1, 2. That's Camptown Race. It's kind of tricky, except there's all these moving parts going at the same time. So the way you get to this point is by going step by step, okay? First getting the boom chicka thing down, doing the scales over the chords, doing the simple songs, throwing in the shuffle is sort of a different thing, and then it's doing the hammers and pulls. So those are the, it's like a recipe. You add one thing at a time, and you know, you don't want to do 1, 3, 2, because then you'll be all screwed up and nobody will want a piece of the cake you spent 2 hours making. So yeah, just take it step by step, take your time. There is no time limit on this quiz, and you will not be graded. This is strictly for your benefit. All right. So one more song you can do hammers and pulls on is the ever exciting song about puffer bellies, Down by the Station. Okay. So I'm going to do that in the key of G. So I have to play it once just to kind of get it back in my head, because Down by the Station is not a song that I normally play out in public, but it's a good teaching song. And like I said earlier, songs are better than drills, because at least there's some semblance of a purpose to somebody taking the time to write the song, in my opinion. So I'm down picking on the 3rd string, the 3rd fret. So, and I'm pulling off. On the 4th string. I'm going from nothing and then hammering on to the 2nd fret. Then to a D chord, and I'm hammering. I'm just finding that my fingers are too big to get a good powerful hammer on that string, because my index finger's in the way of my pinky. So I'm taking my index, or my ring finger, that's my ring finger, I'm sorry, and just relieving it of its duties on the 3rd string and using it for the 4th string. Back to our G chord, 3rd string, down, brush up, 2nd, brush up. Same thing. Pulling off to get that note. And then the 4th line, you're already there. You don't have to hammer or pull, although you can. So there's a couple of songs. right hand and left hand stuff. And if you haven't learned enough already, again, this course could last as long as you want it to. Just want to put a bunch of different things out there. And like I said at the outset, if you learn one thing that you feel great about and it helps you play better, then it's worth doing. So I want to show you some rolls. That's part of finger picking too. We'll kind of bring it back full circle here, starting with right hand stuff, coming back to another right hand thing. These are, I guess they're like banjo rolls, and what it is just instead of strumming the whole chord or even one note and the boom chicka thing, it's picking out one note at a time with your fingers. Now, I use 3 fingers. You can use 2. Some of the best players like Led Kapana, 2 fingers, and it sounds like he's got about 10 going all at once. Doc Watson, the lead guitar player, is 2 fingers. But I learned with 3, so that's what I'm going to show you. I can't show you things I don't know. So, and what it is just kind of mixing and arpeggiating chords. And what's the pattern? It varies. That's what's cool about this finger picking style. One thing I like to do, I'm only using 3 fingers to pick the strings. You can see my uke is all beat up here. It's all scratched out, the finish is wrecked, and a little bit here. This is where my thumb goes, and this just from having my ring finger there as an anchor on my right hand, I've played it enough that it's messing up the finish, but that doesn't really bother me. You know, look at Willie Nelson's guitar. I guess I use that as an example. It doesn't really matter what it looks like. It matters on the quality of the instrument, and more so the quality or the experience of the person sitting behind the instrument. So I'm not comparing myself to Willie Nelson or anyone, but just because I do that's my go-to style, is this finger picking thing. So I got wherever you on the top of the uke you want to anchor your finger, then you don't have to look and see which string you're on all the time, which allows you to look at the camera if you're doing a workshop, or to look at your audience or your bandmates if you're playing in a group, which is way better. Or, you know, if you're staring at a music trying to follow tab or sheet music, that may be great for the pure music aspect of performing, but there's a great price to be paid. Again, I'm getting a little bit off here, but I think this is important to say that the idea is to communicate and share with your audience, not to be a virtuoso. Unless you're in a 80-piece symphony orchestra where you have to follow the music, and the music is so compelling and beautiful that it doesn't matter if you're wearing a tuxedo with a bow tie, and you know, the visual is not as important. But if you're playing a ukulele, chances are you probably won't be taken seriously in most cases, and so the idea is to interact and have fun. That's more important than the technical, although technical is important, and that's what we're teaching here. So meanwhile, back at the ranch, 3 finger rolls. So it's thumb, index, middle, thumb, index, middle, thumb, middle, index, thumb. So I'll just call out the strings I'm playing over the C chord, and you can play over any chord, of course. So it's 3, 2, 1, I'm sorry, 2, 3, 4, 1, 4, 3, 2, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 4, 3, 2, 4, and let's do a F chord. So now we got the thing with 2 strings making the same note. So what I'm going to suggest, if you're just playing a chord to play the chord, take your pinky, throw it down on the 3rd fret of the 4th string. 2, 3, 4, 1, 4, 3, 2, 4. 2, 3, 4, 1, 4, 3, 2, 4. Back to C. 2, 3, 4, 1, 4, 3, 2, 4. That's called a mixed roll, because we're going up and down. So let's talk about a forward roll, which would be 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And well, the last note, whatever you want to do, 2, 3, 4. If we're going forward, going from lower to higher. And then a backward roll, which would be 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then again the mixed roll, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 4, 3, 2, 4, F, C, G, C. So that's just a real basic introduction to 3-finger rolls. So you've got, here's the things that you got to work with: the boom chicka, the rolls, right hand things, shuffle, and the scales over chords. And the sevenths, you know, that goes along with the shuffles, and then the hammers and pull-offs. So you got plenty of material, and if you get to where you got all this wired in, let me know, and we'll think of some more things to learn. So again, there's a lot of stuff here, and I don't apologize for that, because if you were to come to a private workshop, it would cost hundreds of dollars to fly in, plus hotels, and of course I would have to get handsomely paid, at least 4 figures if putting on a professional workshop. And you're getting it for no charge, which I love to do. I like to share what I'm learning with people, and I appreciate your feedback. If you have any questions, if you get stuck, if I didn't explain things quite in a way that makes sense to you, please feel free to email me at chordmelodyyuke@yahoo.com. And that gets checked every day. I get an alert on my phone when I get an email there. And I'll try to get you an answer as soon as I can. So again, I hope to be of help whether you came to the Evart workshop in July of 2015, or if, however you're seeing this video, just from browsing the channel. I'm always looking to reach a broader audience, so if you have ukulele playing friends that you think may benefit from this or some of the other videos on here, please let them know, and I appreciate your confidence in my abilities to help other people. So, okay, Johnny Hunt signing off, wishing you the best, and keep on a ukin'.